What's up, guys? Welcome to the Sesh. Today I got a very special guest. Please introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Sure. My name's Edna De Saro, and I am owner of DeSaro Public Relations Firm.
Okay, so for a long time now, I've been into marketing, digital marketing. I love it. I love helping people out, and I love getting the message out for businesses, especially for myself.
Right.
I found that now in 2023 specifically, like growing a personal brand is huge. So I kind of want to touch on that stuff because I know your history. Like I know you're a really good marketer. So I want to extract all the knowledge from you and give it back to the community because I think at that point, like we really know like the common things. Mm-hmm. Most people don't. So diving right into it, what are like the top 3 hacks specifically for businesses here in the Rio Grande Valley?
So, you touched on a very important subject, which is brand, right? Creating a brand. And what is a brand? We think about brands and you think about, okay, so is it Coca-Cola? Is it a restaurant? You think about brands and a brand is not just a name, mm-hmm. Okay? A brand, the way I look at it is a brand is something of substance, something that means something. So we can make a brand out of a person. A person itself is a brand. And I really feel that one of the challenges that I think people, small business owners and professionals don't understand is that you in essence are the brand.
Right.
So one of the recommendations that I give to people, it's like, before you're wanting to develop the brand for your business, you need to really focus on developing your own brand, mm-hmm. because your business will benefit from that portion of the development of your brand. Now, the development of your own personal brand happens throughout a course of time. I've been in the industry for 25 years. Showing my age now. So. But, it hasn't been a walk in the park.
Yeah.
It's been slow and steady. And, a lot of that is investment in the community, getting involved, doing things, getting out there, putting yourself out there, making your life a little bit more public than you probably want to, or that it makes you comfortable.
Right.
There's just, sometimes we talk about how, man, those celebrities, they have such a hard time. Their life is so public, so exposed. Mm-hmm. Well, even you as a personality or as a person of influence in your own community, your life becomes a little exposed.
Yeah.
And some people are not comfortable with that. But that is one of the challenges and one of the things that makes people uncomfortable about developing your own brand. Yeah. So if you're a politician, if you're a civic leader, if you're a business owner, you got to start with your own brand. Yeah. And what do you stand for? What do you mean? That's how I've developed my own brand in terms of Edna DeSaro. What does Edna DeSaro stand for? What do I do? Obviously I've just recently, and I don't know if people in the market, I guess people in the market have noticed, but I've transitioned into calling myself Latina on the border. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? So I'm developing a brand. I'm developing a significance and a substance for that.
And it's culturally relevant. So that's the important part. And I think you touched on a very important thing, especially with PR, because PR is something that I do not do. I don't like going out to networking events. So my networking is being online as much as I can, providing information mm-hmm. and education and stuff like that. But I know there's a lot of people that want to do it that are very, I guess, they don't like to speak in front of people. They don't like to meet people. What did you have to learn specifically to do that stuff? Because it's not easy for anybody just to go up to a bunch of people and start shaking hands and introducing themselves. So what are tips that people can use today?
Absolutely. You're taking me way back to when I first started my career in this community. And, I started my career in banking. Working for a local another bank in town at the time was Texas State Bank. So when I was hired back in 2000, because that's when I started my banking career, it's been a while, it's been a good time. But when I started my banking career, one of the challenges that they gave me was, well, we want you to be out in the community and we want everybody to know who you are and we want you to be associated with our brand. So from very early on, I understood the importance and the value of getting out in the community. So all of a sudden, I was putting myself out there. I was going to every ribbon cutting. I was going to every grand opening. I was going to every groundbreaking, every mixer. You want to talk about sacrificing your time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because time is probably one of the most valuable assets that we all have.
And they're not making any more of it.
And they're not, right. When time's gone, it's a moment. I always tell people, I'm like, every moment in your life is like a Polaroid. When you think about snapping a Polaroid, we're living in a form of Polaroids.
Yeah.
And so this moment here is a Polaroid.
Yeah.
right? So I always tell people, I'm like, going out, it's not easy. You're sacrificing your time. You're having to make a lot of, effort, getting dressed, going out, getting uncomfortable, shaking people's hands, introducing yourself. But, they always say, you've made it when you no longer have to introduce yourself.
Yeah. Or when they're telling you about what you do. It's a very interesting thing.
And they're like, I know what she does. Yeah. Or, oh, you're the lady I've seen on TV. Or, oh, you're the Latina on the border. I like your dichos. So I get that now. I get a lot of people that they're like, oh, your dichos are funny because I release a dicho once a week, on my Instagram page. And people will recite them to me. Like, they'll bump into me at HEB and they'll say, oh, I read your dicho. That was really funny. And so, but you're right. It's having to invest in getting out in the community. And I can't stress enough, as a business owner, as a professional, doesn't matter what you do. If you own a small business, if you're a politician, if you're in the world of helping others in the nonprofit, industry, you have to get out, especially if you're knocking on doors and asking for money for people to donate money.
Yeah, if people are signing checks, they should know exactly who you are.
Well, they should know who you are. They should know what you're doing. They should know where is their money going to.
Exactly.
So, but I love meeting people. And once it's like you get addicted to that, because all of a sudden you realize how we're all connected.
Yeah.
And somehow or another, it's like so beautiful. Because you meet someone 1 year, and then 5 years down the road, you'll remember, man, I met that person 5 years ago,
and they become something else.
And now we're doing business, and it becomes something else. I can't tell you how many times I've experienced that in my career, where I meet people, and it's like, yeah, I met you at such event, back in the day 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or, man, we went to high school together, and now we're doing business together.
What is it about business owners that they won't just get in front of a camera? Like, because I've had this problem. It's like, I've filmed so many people, so many business owners, and a lot of them don't have what it takes to be in front of a camera, to project themselves, to project what they want out into the world. What do you see on your side when you see people like that? What is that advice that you can give them? Like, you just got to get out of your shell, or
so
what is it?
The advice that I give these small business owners, or any professional in general that I notice is a little gun shy about getting in front of the camera, like you're mentioning. What I do is I tell them, I'm like, do you believe in your brand? Yes, of course I do. Do you believe in your product? Yeah, of course I do. Well, then what's the problem? Or they'll start having a conversation with me. Say, for example, because I did bring you some macaroons today.
Yes.
I'm the gift giver.
Thank you.
So,
while I'm on a diet, by the way.
Well, take them home.
I'll take them home.
Take them home to your family. So, say, for example, you're the macaroon seller, right? You sell macaroons. And you probably feel very passionate about it because you're like, man, they're the best macaroons in town.
Macaroons, yeah.
They're amazing. They taste great. They're fluffy. They're just immaculate. Great. So you know how you make your macaroons, and you believe and you stand by your product. Your product can be your law firm, can be your small business, your podcast studio, can be your restaurant. It can be anything that you do, right? Whatever line of service, or whatever product you're selling, you stand by it. So when I see small business owners that are like, oh no, Edna, I'm just not good about doing commercials. I'm just not good in front of camera. And I start prompting those questions, and I'm like, what exactly do you do again?
Yeah.
So they start talking about it, and all of a sudden that passion comes out.
It's interesting because they can sell one-on-one, but they can't sell over. Like, if the camera is on, like, they just go blank. It's a very interesting thing to witness. Yeah.
Politicians are the same way. You would think that just because they're a politician, they're super comfortable, and they're not. But when you get them off camera and you start talking to them about
a different person.
Why are you running for office? They're so passionate. They're some of the most beautifully passionate people. It takes a lot to run for office, okay? And in PR, me being in PR, I see that all the time because I work with them, and I coach them on their speeches. I coach them on their brand, on how to project in front of a camera, on how to prepare their speaking points. I also coach business owners in getting them out of that shell. And once I make them comfortable with that lion, that passion that they have inside of them, because every single person has that lion, that passion. Because you wouldn't be in the business of making macaroons if you didn't believe that they were the best macarons in town.
Yeah. And the thing is that the
Does that make
business,
sense?
and the business owner is the best person to talk about their business because they know every single detail about it.
Yeah, and you know what? They could even sit there and tell you how their product is different from their competitors. They may not feel comfortable talking about it, but they know what the comparisons are. Yeah. They even know what the weaknesses of their product is because let's face it, we can all improve our product.
Yeah, they're 24/7, that's why.
Right? And so I always tell people, I'm like, okay, so what I do is I coach them in bringing that passion that we all have. We all have it in us. If you're a small business owner, if you're a professional, if you're in the nature of doing business, if you are wanting to become
selling
a civic
anything,
leader, if you're selling anything, if you're wanting to become a civic leader in our community, you have passion. You have it inside of you. And so what I do is I make them comfortable to bring that beast out. And when it comes out, beautiful things happen in front of the camera.
So how do you do it? Give me 3 examples of how you get them comfortable in front of the camera.
So I get them comfortable by getting them to just talk and getting them outside. I always tell people, I'm like, let the frog out. Let's have a conversation.
Tell me everything.
Tell me everything. I don't want you to be stuffy. You're not giving me a hard sale about your service. You're not giving me a hard sell why I should hire you as an attorney, right?
Yeah.
We all know you're great. Mm-hmm. We all know you're great. Just tell me why you do what you do. And when I get them to talk about why it is that they're in the game, whether it's in the game of cooking, in the game of selling a product or a service, or being a civic leader, or whatever it is that they're doing, when I talk to them about, tell me why you're here. Why are you doing this? All of a sudden something beautiful happens. They start oozing that passion that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And when people start oozing that passion, that is what sells. You know, when we think about brands like Disney World, Walt Disney, right?
Yeah.
Think about these big, big brands. They all started with what? Passion and love, right? That's what drives all of us. It's not anything else except the passion. You know, the money and the success and the this and the that, all of that will come. But what's really, truly needed is passion. That's what's made me incredibly successful in what I do. That's why when people say, man, you're still at the office, it's 10:30. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, because I love what I do.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand that. It's not like something you can turn off. For a lot of people that have these ideas that are always going and always going, they can't shut their mind off, so they need to get it out somehow.
Absolutely.
And work is a perfectly best place to do it because you make money off of it.
It really is. Work. Some people, it's the working out. Some people, it's, you know, I don't know, shooting, going to the range, hitting balls, you know, whatever it is. Find what helps you get that beast out, get that energy out, project that energy out. So I always tell people, I'm like, okay, we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about this. One time I took a client out, believe it or not, that was just so uptight. And I said, you know what are you doing tomorrow? I need to meet with you. And I said, okay, I have a gap between 9 and 10. I said, great. I said, do you know where the UFC gym is? And they were like, uh-huh. I said, meet me there. And they were like, okay. So I met them there, and I got them to kick and to punch a bag.
To get that stuff out of them.
Kick and punch. And they were like, what do you want me to do again? And I'm like, we're going to kick and we're going to punch together. And they were like, okay, I thought we were having a meeting about what we're doing. And I said, we are having a meeting. This is our meeting. Mm-hmm. This is our meeting space. And you and I are going to connect because I'm going to get that beast out of you. Because I know it's there.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden they were laughing, and then they
let their guard
all of a sudden
down.
they were comfortable with me, and they let the frog out.
Yeah.
Which was amazing, right? And so I always tell people, I'm like, you have to feel comfortable in your own presence. You have to feel comfortable in your own energy. You have to really feel comfortable with your own passion.
Especially with the people that they're working with and that they're paying money to. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, you know, to me, consistently, when I'm developing someone's brand and I'm making, you know, because when I develop brands, whether it's a company's brand or an individual's brand, I mean, I start from top bottom. Mm-hmm. Branding guidelines, colors, What is it going to look like? What is it going to feel like? What are we doing here? And it's not easy.
Yeah, definitely
it's not easy.
Because people are complicated.
Right, because we're complicated. But when we become uncomplicated, that's when you do the best work.
Yeah.
And when you get the client to feel comfortable in your own presence and to feel comfortable in their own presence, which is even far more important, beautiful things happen because all of a sudden it's synergy. Mm-hmm. And then the brand just flourishes because the brand is already there. Yeah. You are your own brand.
You are the brand.
You already have your own essence. If you think about a song, if you think about colors, if you think about this and you're like, oh, I just don't know. I don't know if I want green. I really like blue. And sometimes they're like all over the place. Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of sort of just start bringing them in. Just, let's ease the anxiety and let's just relax and just tell me how you feel when you think about your brand, when you think about your campaign, when you think about what you stand for. And then all of a sudden, things start happening. Everything, a symbol, an object, a color, everything has energy around us. So when I think about branding, I work with energy. So your room here has a very specific type of energy, and I love it.
Very colorful.
It's fun.
It's a reflection of who we are.
It's great. Right?
Yeah.
This is your brand, and I love it. What was the first thing I did when I sat here? I took a snapshot of it because this is your brand. Yeah. So when I sat here, I took it in, and probably not just the average person picks up on those things because they don't even know that they're picking up on it, but we all do. Mm-hmm. Every room, every area, everything around us, our homes. Your home is your brand. Yeah. So when you go home today, look around and say, is this representative of my brand?
Yeah, I agree.
Just think about it. Yeah. And I bet everybody listening to this is going to go home and say, is this representative of my brand? Is this
I need to move out of here.
Is this room really me? I mean, your bedroom is a very private space in your house. Your bedroom should be representative of your brand, and it probably is. Even if any other room in your house is not representative of your brand, you start there when you're developing your brand. What colors? What colors am I using? What colors am I putting around me? Like me, for example, when it comes to bedding, I like all white. I don't use anything but white, because to me, I like things to be a clean slate every day at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day.
It makes
clean
sense.
Slate.
Yeah.
So it's everything is energy. We pick up energy from all the objects around
How many
us.
people do you think actually do that though? That live that lifestyle? Because I'll tell you what, it takes a ton of discipline because I know this because I started my health journey last year and I'm about to get into a year, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to rewire your brain over a year and change your eating habits, change your lifestyle, period. Yeah. And then the people that you left behind, they're kind of like, they don't get it. They're like, what is going on? This is a new person. Yeah. You're not like the old person. I like the old person, but people don't understand that you're becoming a healthier version of your future self.
Of yourself.
So how do you deal with that specifically?
It can be very challenging because it could create a lot of anxiety in terms of how do you start wiring yourself differently to start seeing that everything around you is a part of your brand and a part of who you are. Because you start thinking, oh my gosh, is the way I'm dressing a part of my brand? Is this representative of how I feel and who I am?
Let me ask you this real fast before let me interrupt you. How many percentage of men actually know how to dress? Because I'll tell you, I have no style. From your point of view, how many men actually have style? That you see here in town.
So part of the services that I do at my firm is
style.
I style people.
Oh, nice.
So when I'm developing people's brands, I style them. And I actually have stylists that work hand in hand with me. So my vision of the brand, say, for example, we'll take an attorney, right? Or a CEO of a company. And they're like what you said, I have no style, Edna. I don't even know how to dress.
Because I would say most men are oblivious to that.
Okay. And what I do is I'll take them to the store and I'll say, well, can I show you what I'd like the brand to look like? So I put together what's called basically like a storyboard, but I put a fashion board and a brand board. And so I show them, this is what your brand to me means. 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, yes, I love that.
Just a little direction.
But it takes for me to identify it is because everybody has the essence of their brand. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sitting here and I'm seeing you and I already, in my mind, I already have your wardrobe set
What
up.
would I be wearing?
Actually,
lay it on me.
Honestly, I'm gonna You're doing really well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's. Thank
I
you
want to
for
compliment you.
Thank you for the cookie that I cannot eat. By the way,
I know. You can take that home.
I'll take it to my son.
To your babies.
Yeah,
yes, take that
absolutely.
home.
But
take
thank
that
you
home
very
to your
much.
babies and your family, and you can take these.
I
to
will
your
actually
beautiful
eat a
wife.
macaroon.
You're gonna eat a macaroon.
I will eat one.
Okay, and then you can take the rest to your lovely wife.
Take it, yes.
So yeah, I wanted to make sure I brought a little gift. But did you see the cookie I brought?
Yes, I did not.
You didn't see the cookie? Can I show it to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I show it to you? Okay.
Hold it up for the camera right there.
This is part of my brand. This is how I see myself.
Okay.
It's weird because we do this every day without even, it's unintentional. Everyone's essence is unintentional. Your essence exists within you. Your brand is already there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about bringing it out. And sometimes people are shy and they're not comfortable with bringing it out. If once you start bringing it out, then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I identify myself with that. And then when you go shopping, you're like, boom, 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 boom. You start picking out your wardrobe, and all of a sudden I'm on top of my game.
Yeah.
I've had clients that I take shopping and I show them, this is what I have in mind for you, for your brand. And they're like, oh my gosh, Edna, how did you read my mind? This is what I've always wanted. And I'm like, it's existed within you.
Yeah.
Always.
It's always been there.
It's always been there. I just picked up on it by sitting with you because that's what I do. I develop brands.
And you met so many people, so
And
you
I've
can
met
pick
so
that
many
up
people. So
really quick.
I develop brands through vision because the essence is in you. That's just my gift. I just know how to pick up on that. So anyway, so I walked into CC's because, by the way, you have a great office.
Thank you.
It's right above CC's. Okay, this is a big shout out to my friends at CC's. And I hadn't been to their shop, the cutest little shop ever. That is where I bought these amazing macaroons. I like to support our small businesses in our community. So then I grabbed that dinosaur, because it's like cool and, green is a color that I felt and associated with you. So when I saw the green,
it's one of my favorite colors.
I picked up green for you. And so then I saw this, and of course,
nice.
It caught my eye because not only did I like unicorns ever since I was a child, but unicorns are something very whimsical about them, something very extraordinary about them, something very unusual about them. I don't think I'm just an average normal person. I think sometimes people, I'm often misunderstood because,
as most entrepreneurs, I would say,
often misunderstood. But I think there's something fun and something lighthearted about me when you really get to know me.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, she's her way out there. I like to color outside the lines because that's what I do. That's what creative people do. We're always trying to think outside, right? And I think that there's something really fun and energetic about unicorns. And so, what's weird is I can't begin to tell you how many times I've met people that I've never met before in my life. And it's not like I've got unicorns all over the place on my Instagram. Matter of fact, I don't even think I have anything posted with unicorns. And people have told me, you know what? You're like a unicorn. People have said that to me. People that I have met that I've never had a conversation with about the fact that I've always loved unicorns since I was a child. All of a sudden, they pick up on that vibration and that energy of unicorns. Don't ask me why. It's very unusual. I want you to I challenge everybody to start paying attention to those things. And all of a sudden, when people start picking up on things that you like, colors, shapes, activities, it could be a hobby. It could be anything. It could be, would you like to go eat blah, blah? Because all of a sudden they've picked up on the vibration and you go, man, I love eating there.
Yeah.
They've picked up on something that is very unique, associated with you, connected with your brand, with your essence.
Yeah.
So every individual has its own brand, which is our essence. We just don't know how to read it, but it's there.
Yeah.
It exists within you. It's beautiful. And when you learn to dominate it and understand it, all of a sudden things just come together. And all of a sudden people are like, man, I really like your style.
It takes a while for them to warm up to it.
I really love your style. Really love the way you dress. And I'm like, thank you. Or, you have a style. Man, that looks like something you would wear.
Yeah.
Right? I've had clients that I help develop their wardrobes, their style, their look, part of their brand. And then all of a sudden, guess what? They don't need me anymore because now it's like they've connected with themselves. And
or they feel comfortable with what now they can choose.
So then all of a sudden I see them again and they look amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, it blows my mind. I'm like, you look a million times like yourself.
Yeah.
And they're like, I feel like myself. And I'm like, yeah, because it's always been there.
I will tell you this, an advanced sales technique is also the reciprocity. So you bringing me this, I'm more than likely would answer a business call later in life because the fact that you just gave me this, that's an advanced sales tactic, by the way. The reciprocity is very interesting because people feel like they have to give back to the person. It's a very interesting thing.
Well, you are gifting me something today. You invited me on your show.
Yeah, but just the fact that you brought me something is most people.
One of the only people that have ever brought you.
There's a couple,
something?
but they've brought me like beer or drinks, and I'm like, I don't drink. So those things aren't as sentimental to me. But the fact that you stopped and you picked something specifically for this it's forward thinking. Like you want to give back.
I do.
Because you're humble.
It's my essence.
Yeah.
It's my essence. It's my essence to give back. It's my essence to always help people. I'm always helping and giving love. We are what we give.
Yeah.
You give love, you will receive love.
Yeah.
And you help other people, the universe will bounce it right back at you. And I've always known that you are a entrepreneur, super hardworking, a family man. You're a great dad, a great husband to your beautiful wife. And so I automatically thought, you know what, I'm going to take some goodies that you can take home. So, and it's just a little small way. I always say, you know,
it's because you pay attention.
Correct.
And I think that's the thing is like
Correct.
a lot of people don't pay attention to the little details. Even if you don't know me personally, you know about my life.
Absolutely. And I always tell people, I'm like, it's all about giving back, and it's about showing gratitude. Mm-hmm. Gratitude is everything in life. You know, you express gratitude every day. You wake up and you say, I am grateful for this day. This morning I woke up and I thought, I'm grateful for this day. Yeah. I'm going to go talk at this great podcast tomorrow. We're going to connect as two human beings, two creative minds. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. It's a gift. This is a gift. It's a Polaroid. I always tell people.
Absolutely. Let me get your thoughts on this. So for marketing specifically, a lot of people don't have budgets for that. And marketing with every single thing in this world has gone up in price.
Absolutely.
There's no way around it.
Absolutely.
What are some like tactics that business owners can use today going out through this next year that will save them a lot of money on marketing?
So one of the easiest ways of getting your brand out is through the power of social media on your phone, okay? It is something that is incredibly accessible to all of us. You don't have to be a creative genius, okay, to use social media to your advantage, whether you're an individual, an entrepreneur, a small business owner. You can do it. Where you will need some level of assistance, okay, is in possibly graphic design, okay, and also in video production, depending on your business. Mm-hmm. People in general, consumers, are very visual, okay? Matter of fact, there's been a lot of studies done. What makes a campaign productive and successful on social media? Videos, 9 times out of 10, make campaigns successful. So there are incredibly talented people, I can tell you, in this market. Okay.
There's tons, and actually to go off that.
Incredibly talented people. Matter of fact, I'm blessed to say I have people on my team, and I'm always looking for new people. Did I say that again? I'm always looking for fresh, new, creative people. Call me, 956-802-3262. Call me, because I love to create jobs and opportunities for other people.
No, it's interesting because
I've got clients, and my clients need video, and guess what? I'd like to hire and give an opportunity to other people to make money, okay? Because if we can make some great video, you know, production that will work for a small business owner that is not incredibly expensive, it needs to become affordable, because video production and social media management, whether you're a small business like a restaurant, a dry cleaners, whatever service you're offering, should be affordable, but it needs to be done well. And where I come in is I'll do all the script writing, I'll do all the creative imaging, I lay out the entire brand, and then what I find is incredible talent that have passion for making beautiful photography, beautiful graphics, and beautiful video. And then voila, amazing things come out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're a small business owner or professional, call me, 956-802-3262, and I'll help you develop your brand.
And I would say also right now that there's a ton of people who are into the videography space and photography space.
Yes.
Like it's a huge thing since social media came around. There's a lot of young people that are enjoying it.
Absolutely. I have at least 5 photographers, right, on my fast dial on my phone. I was going to say Rolo, but we don't use Rolodexes anymore. But on my phone, I've got 5 photographers that I can call at any given time. I've got social media managers. I've got web developers. I've got video production. I've got, you name it, graphic artists.
Ready to go.
Animation editors, film editors, crew guys, sound engineers. We have some of the most creative people.
And talented
people, right? That I have the privilege of working with every day and creating job opportunities for them. And as a small business owner, as a Latina on the border, it makes me proud. that I create not only great work for the small business owner, but I create opportunities for our wonderful talent that we have in the Valley. So the opportunities are endless. What I do is I focus on making advertising something affordable to people. It should not be something expensive. It should not be something that people are gun shy to get. Because if you do good branding and good marketing and public relations for a brand or for a client, for a business, they're going to grow. We will all grow together.
Yeah.
So it excites me. I mean, the opportunities, the market, the Rio Grande Valley is a beautiful place to live.
What do you say about that to people who want to move out of the Rio Grande Valley? Like, I've always thought that, I was like, I've lived in different places, but there's nothing like the Rio Grande Valley.
Listen, I was raised in the Rio Grande Valley. I have spent the majority of my adult life in the Rio Grande Valley. I have lived outside of the market. I lived in Fort Worth when I went to college, and I actually worked and lived in the San Antonio market for some time. There is nothing like the Rio Grande Valley. First of all, our fajitas are second to none. Because I've had fajitas all over the world, or I've had steak all over the world, and I can tell you that our fajitas are second to none. Our pico de gallo beats everybody.
You're making me hungry here.
I know.
I've been fasting for the past 18 hours.
You've got macaroons here.
Thank you.
And flour tortillas. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but my point is that the Rio Grande Valley is a beautiful place. We are in what I consider a corridor that has always been historically very well protected by so many different, economic challenges that we've experienced even in our lifetime. I'm going back to like the 80s. I mean, we were kids, but our parents faced some really challenging financial times during the 80s, and then there was also recessions that we've gone through. The Valley is in a very unique place geographically located. We're right on the border to Mexico. Our flair and our culture here in the Valley is beautiful. What I challenge every business owner, what I challenge every professional in this market is when we think about creating brands, when we think about creating businesses, I challenge all of the entrepreneurs in the Rio Grande Valley to start creating things that are authentic to the Valley. I'll repeat that again. I challenge every entrepreneur to create brands and experiences that are unique to our culture and the Rio Grande Valley. We need to stop thinking necessarily about bringing big name brand restaurants or chains. Yeah, they're nice because, everybody wants a Cheesecake Factory and everybody wants these
Panda Express.
Right. We all like that because, it's something that, when I lived in Austin, I ate at it. Or, Oh my gosh, there's like these great restaurants in Austin. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've heard that, people wanting to move out of the Valley because of that. Oh, it's because San Antonio has great restaurants, or the Valley, or Austin, or Houston has great shopping experiences. Holy moly, the Rio Grande Valley has amazing shopping experiences. I always tell people, I'm like, where have you been? Like, hang out with me on a Saturday, and I'll take you to some of the best retail stores all the way from Rio Grande, Roma, all the way to South Padre Island. I will knock your socks off, and I will take you to some of the most unique retail stores that are owned by small business owners. Downtown McAllen is filled with some of the most amazing stores. I challenge all women, spend a Saturday afternoon and go hang out and go look around. Man, you're gonna walk out with some knockout dresses. It's about taking 3 steps back and really taking a look at the beauty of our market. We have a very unique market. The Valley is growing. We're a very young demographic.
Very fast, too.
Some of these hospitals in town are delivering enough babies for an elementary school every month.
Wow. That's crazy.
If you look at those numbers. Okay, so me as a marketer, I'm constantly looking at numbers. I'm kind of driven by what's going on. How many households are popping up? How many schools are we opening? How many school districts do certain cities have? What are consumers buying? What's the average household income? I'm constantly looking at those numbers. The Valley is a gold mine. The Valley is a beautiful place to live. It's a beautiful place to raise your family. Some of the safest cities in the state are in the Rio Grande Valley. We could all work on our lifestyle a little bit more. So I applaud you that you have improved your lifestyle, that you've gone through this journey, like you said.
Yeah, it only took me 40 years.
That's okay.
Well, it's interesting because
that's okay.
I am specifically the demographic that goes through all those problems. I was obese. I drank a lot. I overworked. So I am the perfect person to talk about that health journey because I'm going through it and I still struggle with it. And I think that's what a lot of people do is like, what is it about consistency that people will not do?
Right.
Like, why? Why will you not take charge of your life?
Right.
Because this is the only one you're ever going to have. That's mind blowing to me.
I agree. And I always tell people, I'm like, okay, it's like when I meet people and they're like, oh, I never go to South Padre. I'm like, why? What do you mean? Well, because it's there.
It's too far.
It's too far. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like when I lived in San Antonio, it would take me sometimes 45 minutes to an hour to get from work to my apartment or from my apartment to downtown to a meeting or a dinner. And I'm like, and you can't drive an hour on Saturday and go support our small businesses at the island? There are some beautiful, beautiful retail stores in South Padre. You could spend the day out there shopping. Yeah. I cannot tell you, I bought the cutest dresses, the cutest sandals. I mean, and it's not name brand. It's just, I don't even know what these brands are, but it's a cute dress. Yeah. And then people say, man, I really love your dress. I'm like, oh, I bought it at this little shop at the island. Or I bought this jewelry at a little store in Rio Grande.
Yeah.
Or I bought that at Progreso. I spent the day in Progreso. I mean, small businesses in the Valley really have a lot to offer. Our restaurants in the Valley have a lot to offer. We have some of the best restaurants
I would agree with
ever.
you. Yeah.
I have traveled all over the world, and I've been very blessed to do that. I've eaten some of the best restaurants, but the Valley is home. The Valley is a beautiful place, and it's also a great place, like I said, to not only raise a family, but to start a business. I mean, I think we all have the challenge, and we should all take it personally, to create a better living experience for generations to come. So as an entrepreneur, think outside the box. Think about what makes cities like San Antonio and Austin unique. Like, here I am going to give somebody an idea. Okay.
Go for it.
If we have any entrepreneurs hearing me out.
Share.
I'm going to share. You know what I think we're past due for in the Valley?
What is it?
Which blows my mind that no entrepreneur, watch, I'm going to talk about it right now. Someone's going to listen
Hopefully
to
we'll
this.
see it in the next year.
And we're going to see it in the next year. Okay. How many of y'all have heard of the restaurant downtown in San Antonio called Mi Tierra?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Right. What's the beauty about Mi Tierra? What does Mi Tierra have?
Good Mexican food.
Yeah. Right? What else do they have? When I say Mi Tierra, bakery, right?
Yeah.
They have a bakery. And what else is unique about Mi Tierra? What are their hours like?
What are the hours?
They're open like
super late
all the time and
really?
Super late. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Music, right? They also have a little mercado that's kind of sort of like relatively close walking distance from them. So I challenge, if any entrepreneurs are hearing me out there, why in the heck, we're in the Rio Grande Valley. We are in the hashtag 956 people, okay? We have like the best fajitas, because it's not fajitas, it's fajitas. We have the best conchas. Our bakeries have the most amazing sweets all over the Rio Grande Valley. Why? And we have mariachis. Some of the most amazing mariachis I've ever heard are in the Rio Grande Valley, okay? So why hasn't anybody thought about opening up a restaurant that's open 24 hours, except for Taco Palenque? But I'm talking a more upscale restaurant.
Yeah.
A more upscale experience where you have the mariachis, where you have the this, and then you have like a store, like an actual retail store. So if you're a visitor coming in from Houston, San Antonio, from somewhere in Mexico, from another state, and you're here, you're like, man, they're open till like 3-4 in the morning, and I can go have a great meal, and it's a great experience. Why hasn't anybody thought about that?
Good. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Why hasn't anybody thought about that? I'm like, because let me tell you, Taco Palenque, plug for Taco Palenque. I'm all about supporting our businesses. Man, they have a great recipe. Here's another challenge for Taco Palenque. One of the things that I love and I don't love. I'm going to say what I love about going to Manhattan, going to New York, is that I can shop and eat really late, right? Because I can shop till I drop, I can eat till I drop, because everything, you find food trucks, restaurants open till really late. But when I'm in New York, don't ask me why, I always crave a good taco. It's like 2 a.m. and I see all these, food trucks, and I'm like, I just want I don't want noodles. I don't want, Indian food. I don't want a hot dog. I just want a good fajita taco.
Yeah.
So I've always thought, man, Taco Palenque would kill it in Manhattan. They had like a little corner, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so if Taco Palenque doesn't do it, all you entrepreneurs out there, think about it.
We'll give it to Jerry Leal, the food truck guy.
Take Hispanic fajitas and good flour tortillas to Manhattan and open up a taco place in Manhattan. Okay. I was reading some incredible, I'm always reading about success stories and blah, blah. So there was this business owner that went and opened up from I want to say they were from Texas. I can't really remember. I was trying to remember right now what state they're originally from, but they went and opened up a tamales shop. Like they sold tamales they started in the Bronx and then they opened up in Manhattan. Man, there's like lines.
Wow.
For tamales, kind of sort of like what Delias. Here's another plug-in from my friends from Delias, which I love their tamales. I still think it doesn't matter what tamales are sold in Manhattan. I think Delias would go squash.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, any tamal that you sell in Manhattan. So maybe Delias should go open up in Manhattan. How cool would that be?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess what I'm saying is we need to think outside the box. Here. And there's talent here. I mean, oh my gosh, you want to talk about people that sing? Why don't we have more musicians? All the musicians that are out there, why don't I see more musicians playing in downtown? Maybe if we start seeing musicians like on the streets of New Orleans, people like to go walk the streets of New Orleans. Yeah. Why do we always associate crime with downtown, nightlife? Like, why can't we create a more lighthearted environment, in terms of maybe open up some bookstores. There's another opportunity for entrepreneurs. Yeah. Open up a bookstore, open up a coffee shop, bring some lifestyle to some of our beautiful areas in the valley.
There's a beautiful art gallery down there with our buddy Conquista.
There is, and I've been to it. So shout out to our friends, right? Because I'm actually working on a very special project with Uriel that everybody will get to see very soon.
Nice. But let me ask you before we go on, that painting right behind you is a Dali.
Gorgeous.
So Conquista went over that with his own paint. What do you feel about that?
If that is not representative of who we are as Latinos, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Okay. We color everything. We bring everything to life, right? So that is exactly what I feel about the Rio Grande Valley. Mm-hmm. We can take something that's very standard in the box, kind of sort of square, and we can make it something different and unique to us. That is what should be motivating every single entrepreneur, is make it unique to the Rio Grande Valley. You want to start a business, you want to create a brand, you want to make the valley a better place for all of us to live. Bring unique things, unique ideas. And I'm not talking about franchises, guys. I'm talking about create a brand, in essence, an experience that is unique to the Rio Grande Valley.
I love that. All right, so let me ask you this. Tips to achieve success. I feel like a lot of people are lost. A lot of people don't know what to do. And I always say that you need to build your skills.
Yeah.
Skills is the number one thing that you need, because you'll get paid for it. And when you start skill stacking, you can get paid more and more. So what is your take on it?
What is success, right? When we talk about success, because what my opinion of success is could be very different from your opinion of success. I don't correlate to success with attaining an asset. I correlate success with doing what you love to do and feeling comfortable in your own skin and how you do it, right? So Maya Angelou has the most beautiful of quotes. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it.
Interesting.
Success, I'm going to say it again. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. That, to me, is what success is. Success, you have to accept yourself, your skill set, like you said. Because if we all focused on finding something that we love to do, you don't need a wall full of diplomas to be really good at it.
Right.
Granted, there's some professions that you need the diplomas. You want to be a licensed professional, you want to be a CPA, you want to be an attorney, you want to be a doctor. Obviously, you got to go get those credentials. But if you want to be a business owner, small business owner, whatever it is that you want to do, even if it's being a licensed professional, you have to like yourself, how you do it, and what you do. If you don't do that in that order, you will never attain success. Success is something that we can measure in terms of, well, I'm successful because I make 6 figures, or I'm successful because of the car that I drive. One time I was having a conversation with an individual, and he says, what do you think about my car? And I said, it's a nice car. Sure, it's a nice car. It's a Porsche. It's a nice car. Do you think that it exudes success? And I felt so sad when I heard him say that, because I wish he saw what I saw. A car does not define your success. Sure, it's nice to drive around in a Porsche, right? Mm-hmm. But that car is not the essence of your success. The success is the fact that you're very good at what you do.
Right.
And you make things happen for the people, your clients, and you love what you do. That is success. It's not the car you drive. It's not the house you live in. It's not anything about you except how you make people feel, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about what it is that you do and how you do it. That is what success is.
And I would also say that the money isn't a bad thing either. It's part of the good life. But
you know what it is? You're absolutely right. But they all,
what is it about money that people are so afraid of talking about, or what is it about that? Because I feel like for me, when I started talking about money, a lot of people kind of got turned off. What is it about talking about that taboo subject? Because I remember growing up and I never talked about it. My parents really never talked about it. So what is it about money that people will not come to terms with?
I come from very humble beginnings, and I'm not uncomfortable talking about it. I think, it definitely helped shaped me. I remember when I was growing up as a kid, I could always tell that, I wasn't in a position to ask my parents for anything because I knew that there was bills that needed to be paid. I was a 7-8-year-old and I was very cognizant of that. Wow. Very smart, and I picked up on that. You're right. You're 100% correct. We shouldn't feel uncomfortable to talk about money. Why do people are uncomfortable to talk about money? It's like me sitting here and tell you, why are people uncomfortable about talking about funeral expenses or planning for your funeral? Or why are we uncomfortable to talk about life insurance? Right?
Yeah.
Do you know that us as Latinos, as Hispanics, we're so gun shy to talk about a lot of things. We're gun shy to talk about hormone replacement. We're gun shy to talk about obesity, right? We're gun shy to talk about enhancing your beauty through plastic surgery, but yet Latinas all get it. We are shy to talk about money. We're shy to talk about how do we get out of debt. We're shy to talk about, I need a plan for my retirement. I need to get a life insurance policy because if I were to die, my wife doesn't work. And if I were to die tomorrow, you have to understand, I hear this all the time because, I'm in my 40s now. So it's a common conversation now that we hear people in our 40s. Man, if I died, because you hear about 45-year-olds dying, right? So now the conversation amongst my friends that are in their 40s, mid to late 40s is, man, if I died, my wife's never worked and I've got 3 kids. She'd be jumping in the workforce as a 46-year-old with no experience. I don't even have a life insurance policy. Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a ton of money saved up, right? But she's going to have to jump into the workforce at 46, 48 if you were to die tomorrow and you've got no savings or you've got no life insurance. It is something that needs to be talked about, and we should not feel uncomfortable. I think when people are uncomfortable to talk about things, you become ignorant, and ignorance is just because we're not comfortable to talk about it. Yeah. It's like when my daddy passed away. When my daddy passed away, may he rest in peace. My parents, my mom and my dad didn't have his funeral planned out. Why? Because I think in general, Latinos feel like they're invincible, like they're never going to die.
Yeah, we don't go to the doctor either.
And I can tell you, exactly. And I can tell you that my daddy was one of those men that I'm going to be strong and I'm going to provide for my daughter and my wife, my daughter and my wife, and I'm going to live to be 100 years old.
Yeah.
But he fell sick. And I bet you anything, it killed my father. And it probably killed him that he never planned for that. And I remember having some really intimate conversations with my daddy when he was sick. And he would tell me, please promise me you're going to take care of your mom, because I obviously did a lousy job planning for this.
Wow.
And I said, Daddy, I love you. And I got you. I got you. So when my daddy was sick, I had to plan for my dad's funeral, pay for my dad's funeral. But thankfully I had a job and I was able to take care of it. But, you often think about, it's not cheap.
Yeah,
to pay for a funeral, right? So why am I having this conversation? Because I think as Latinos, I want to challenge us to plan for retirement, to plan for the awful things that could happen, like death, to get those life insurance policies to protect the people that you love the most. You know, like I have my mommy, where I don't have any children, but I have my mother. My mother lives with me. So when I go to work, when I think about things that I'm doing, I'm thinking about how it's going to affect her. So that if God forbid I were to die tomorrow, what position am I leaving my mom in? So I've had to get life insurance policies to make sure that my mama is taken care of if I were to leave this earth tomorrow. So, you know, these are all, like you said, uncomfortable conversations to talk about. And then there's like a plethora of other uncomfortable things to talk about, like, you know, hormone replacement. Like, oh my gosh, you know, what do I do? I'm in my 40s and I don't want to start aging. And it's like women, it's like taboo. They don't want to talk about it. I'm like, why? Why don't you want to talk about it? It's natural. We're all getting older.
Yeah, the important thing...
And do something about it. Yeah. Talk about it, educate yourself about it, and do something about it.
The interesting thing is...
It's a very Latino thing. You know, we're very uncomfortable to talk about money. We're very uncomfortable to talk about a lot of things. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely a cultural thing. I think other ethnicities are much more...
Open to it.
Open and free to talk about a lot of things. Yeah. Do you agree? Do you see that?
Yeah, I really agree with you, because I would say from about the age of 35 and on... you should start preparing for the things that are going to be difficult in life that are coming. Like, for example, the death of a father or a mother or a loved one that's close to you, or these incurred expenses that you're going to go through in life. Like, these are things that really happen in life that people push off. Like, no, it's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
But time passes by so damn fast that you're already faced with it.
Amen to that.
And you did not plan for it. So that's the important part, is like, people can't see the future. And it's going to happen. Like 10 years passes by like that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, in a blink of an eye, a whole year has gone by. I mean, I remember thinking, you know, last year about things that I wanted to accomplish this year, and it was around the same time. It's weird that we're talking about this, because
we're already here.
I was like, we're here. It's been a year. Like, I was actually just thinking about that. It's been a year. And I'm so glad I've got the wheels in motion, because it's been a year since I talked about doing this, and I'm getting it done. So, you know,
let's jump on that, because I think the goal process, and whenever I talk about goals and writing down my goals, people are like, whatever, dude, that's so stupid. Let me write it down on a piece of paper. But there has never been a better tactic that I've used to write down my goals, and they become real when I put pen to paper. It's a 100%. Very interesting thing. Kind of touch on it.
Yeah, I've always been I make my goals, I write my goals down. It's almost like you make it like your dream boards. Mm-hmm. We all have goals that are short-term goals, long-term goals, and then there's like what I consider like life goals. One of the goals that I challenged myself with, because, you know, I'm, like you said, you said you've been working on your lifestyle changes. Like you said, Edna, these are the challenges. And one of the challenges that you named was that you were a workaholic, right? Mm-hmm. You had no balance. Right? Was that one of the things you said?
Yeah, I actually came to the terms that I enjoy working, and it keeps me a better human being if I'm working.
We all love working. I love working, but we do need balance in our life.
Absolutely.
Because we just talked about how 10 years go by in a blink of an eye, right? Mm-hmm. 5 years go by in a blink of an eye. I am blessed to say that I know some of the most successful people in the Rio Grande Valley. And when I talk to them and I ask them, or they ask me, they're like, man, I just saw that you were in Guatemala. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a beautiful country. Man, I had a great time. And they're like, wow. But they make it sound like it's like, God, I could never do that. And I'm like, why? Well, I don't know. I've never traveled outside of the country. And I'm like, why? They're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, are you scared? Well, kind of. Okay, you're already limiting yourself.
Yeah, self-limiting beliefs.
And then they're like, man, and then I'll say, well, is there anywhere in the world that you've ever dreamed of going? Yes, I've always dreamed of going to Paris. But they make it sound like it's something like crazy unattainable, right?
Yeah.
They're like, but I'm sure it's like super expensive. I'm like, have you ever looked into any tickets? Because I can find you some tickets that are relatively inexpensive. How much did you pay last time you went to Vegas? Oh, like $800. I said, I can find you some tickets to Paris for about $900 out of Austin.
Yeah.
Or out of Houston, if you just drive yourself to Houston. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. Matter of fact, I stayed in a really nice hotel last time I was in Paris. And they're like, I saw that you went to Paris, and well, tell me about it. And I said, look, here's the thing. We can all travel. What happens is people don't plan, and you don't make your goals. You don't set your goals. Back in 2017, thought to myself, okay, I've been working really hard for a really long time, but it's time for me to open my horizons, because I really truly believe that traveling should be a goal that everybody should make.
I 100% agree.
And you don't have to even leave our country. But there's so many other beautiful places in our own country that so many Americans never go to, right? And so I always tell people, you got to set your goals, whatever your short-term goals are, whatever your long-term goals are, and whatever your life-changing goals are. Life-changing goals are lifestyle changes. I want to eat healthier. I want to work out. I want to be a nicer person. I mean, whatever. I want to start reading, right? That all feeds me. I want to start meditating. Okay, great. Working out. Okay, short-term goals should be, I want to start a business. I want to start, such and such, project. Long-term goals are, I want to start traveling every year, right? So you got to make your list. If you don't write it down and if you don't create like a mental image of those goals, they're never going to happen. If you start writing them down, you know what's going to happen? You're going to have anxiety kick in because you're going to realize, wow, these are all the things that I want to do and that I want to accomplish. And you start realizing that time is not in our favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're here today and we don't know if we're here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? So I always tell people, I'm like, you know what? Write down in this piece of paper. This is a great activity to do with anybody. It's a great conversation to have over lunch with your friend, with your family. Say, here's a sheet of paper and here's a pen. I want you to write down all of the places in the world. Doesn't matter where. It could be in the US, could be out of the country, doesn't matter. All the cities, all the countries, anywhere that you've ever wanted to go, that you could ever dream of going in your lifetime. Because guess what? I promise you, they will write them down. Whether it's Disney World, whether it's the Cayman Islands, whether it's, I've always wanted to go to Tulum. Some of the most gung-shy people, you start getting them to write it down, all of a sudden they're like, oh, one more. I've always wanted to go to the canyon, the Grand Canyon. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So you write everything down and then you realize you're like, holy cow, I surely can't go to all these places in 1 year. So I got to space them out. So then all of a sudden, it's a beautiful conversation to have with people because then all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, I could probably make these 2 happen this year. Or maybe I could make one happen this year and then 2 happen next year. And you start mapping out your plan. But there's one thing that we don't know. We don't know how long we have on this earth, right? Mm-hmm. It's one thing we don't know. We can have a list of all of our goals, our short-term goals, our long-term goals. But one thing that we don't know is how much time we have, which is why I always tell people, if you don't write it down, guess what? It's never going to happen.
Right.
You're going to be sitting in the same spot, in the same place, same conversation, same tone. I wish. Let's not wish. Let's make things happen. Make it happen for yourself. If you say, I really want to go to Austin, I don't want to hear you talking about it anymore. Let's go.
Right.
Let's go this weekend. You've never been? Let's go. Let's go to Austin.
And actually, I would add on to your saying is that when you start writing down these things and you have a long vision for your life, you will live longer because you have to attain those goals sometime in your life. Like it gives your life purpose.
You know what? That is a brilliant way to say that. Yeah. I love that.
I believe that.
That is so brilliant because it's so true. If you don't write it down like we're talking about, and you don't start figuring out like, wow, I don't have a whole lot of time. Then you start putting that fire under your feet. Like if I sat here and I showed you my wish list of all the countries that I want to go to and the cities that I want to go to and the experiences that I want to live, you'll understand why I work the way I work and why I live the way that I live.
Because you crave experiences.
I crave experiences. I crave learning culture. There are so many beautiful places in this world to go see. We live in a beautiful universe. We live in a beautiful world. We live in a beautiful country. If I sat here and told you all the places I want to go to in our country, you'll be like, darn, Edna, you want to go everywhere. Absolutely. We live in the most beautiful, powerful country in the world. But there's also other countries that have beautiful cultures and people. Every country that I've ever visited, I've never been the same person. I always leave a piece of me behind,
and they take something.
And I always bring a piece of me. One of the countries that has left a very strong imprint in me was Indonesia. The country of Indonesia. From the moment that I landed in their airport, from the moment that I flew into Jakarta, and then I flew into another smaller sub-city to get to Bali, okay? That whole country is so spiritual, and there's so much respect around offering. They believe in offering all the goodness to what it is, their religion, their belief system. And I remember being in a taxi, and our driver had this little like altar in his van, and he would put little candies and little coins, and then he had his family's photographs there. And I would have a conversation with him while the girls were in the back seat, kind of like, you know, just being girls. I was up there in the front seat, and I would ask him, I'd be like, tell me about this. And he's like, oh, it's my religion. And I said, great. I said, okay. I said, I'm Catholic. I said, I get it, but what does it all mean? Oh, well, you know, I'm offering these candies, and I'm offering these coins, and I'm putting my family's photos in there so that we're blessed, so that we have prosperity and we're protected. Interesting. Every business, when we were driving down the streets, every business had an altar. Same thing. You know? And it was just